What we're going to bring to this finale is something out of this world. We're going to set the stage on fire. Literally.
Said you want to be a legend. A statement, a star. Said you want to be a legend. A statement, a star. I'm so, all I really want to be is an icon or a statement. No, it's legendary. I'm so, all I really want to be is an icon or a statement. No, it's legendary. Legendary, legendary. I'm legendary, legendary. I'm legendary, legendary. Legendary.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to The Let Out, a legendary podcast. I'm your host, Mikelle Street. This week, we're back for an extra special Winner Circle episode with the house that left us gagging every week, the porcelain house of Miyake-Mugler. They came out strong from the jump, which honestly started with their cast. There were two up-and-coming legends, two actual legends, and an icon leading them all. Still, it certainly wasn't a done deal, and the house had to fight to take home the $100,000. Here today, we're going to speak to the winners themselves and our final special guest judge of the season, the icon, Leiomy Maldonado. To kick us off, we have none other than the Princess of Vogue, Tati Mugler. We chat about her time on the show, how she channeled Britney Spears for a performance, and why we really hadn't seen her on the ballroom floor in years.
Bitch, we about to fuck it up. It's your girl, Tati Mugler, the Princess of Vogue, duh.
M-I-Y-A-K to the E, we're the best, as you can see, Miyake, Mugler, Miyake, ooh yeah.
Hey Tati, and welcome to The Let Out.
Hey, Mikelle, thanks for having me at The Let Out.
So I'm so excited to talk to you. I feel like we talk like at least once a year at this point. But so I just wanted to first say congratulations. The House of Miyake-Mugler just won Legendary. And I thought the first place to just start was just like, how does that feel having, won $100,000 with your house?
Personally, I just feel like it's a surreal moment. I would have never in a million years thought that I would be on a platform voguing down for my life and just like challenging my creativity to that extent. I just felt like it was a blessing. And I just always knew, this little girl from Brooklyn was just going to make it, but I just didn't know how. But now why not?
Well, you talked about creativity, and I wanted to ask a little bit about that, especially for the finale episode. No, that wasn't the finale. Sorry. The semifinals, you had that sort of Britney moment. And I wanted to ask about, like, whose idea was that, and how was it getting into that sort of space, doing that choreography?
I think it's something that we all agreed on as a collective, because as soon as we found out the theme or the concept of the ball, the challenge, it was something to the extent of Electric Jungle, I believe it was, the Electric Jungle. And that's something that really, I feel like it just immediately popped to all of us. And I kind of want to say that we was already kind of listening to I'm a Slave for You. So it was kind of like ironic how that situation kind of played out. But I had fun. I felt like with that performance, we really got jiggy on that stage. So when the people see this, they're definitely going to be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I feel like the culture is going to really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Did you have a favorite performance in particular over the season?
Okay, so my favorite performance is definitely the performance we did at episode 6. I know it has opulence in it. I forgot the challenge name. But I felt like there we really took our creativity and like we kind of hit everything on the nail. It was like theatrical. It was choreography. I feel like we really touched base on a lot of things. And that's a performance I really appreciate because I felt like it was something very different from something we've ever done.
Was that like the royal performance?
Yes.
Oh,
when all the boys were in drag.
So good.
It was a gender-bending, opulence.
Yeah. Well, because it was a little bit of both, right?
Yeah.
Like you had to have a little aspect of gender bending and then opulence. But like I felt like, because I think that like the thing is you guys were so clean and so precise the entire season, but there was something that the judges were looking for that was a little bit extra, which was like a little bit more theatricality and a little bit more of like getting to know you guys. And I felt like that performance was where you guys really married everything so seamlessly, and then it like took off and never stopped from there, right? I love that performance.
I just felt like that performance was just like, it was top 5 for me. Like, top performances, legendary, countdown, top 10, one of the top.
Yeah. But I also love the performance where it was all house production and then Best Dressed as a House. My favorite thing was like you were doing face and then, you know, like all the pieces went everywhere and then came back. I was like, bitch.
That was a tea. We was really in this, when we were making up the choreography, we were really trying to figure out like how are we gonna like marry the fashion with the choreography? Because at the end of the day, of course we want to bring entertainment, but we still want to hit the challenge on the nail.
Yeah.
So we was like, we gotta end it. We gotta end it when she got everything back on.
It was because it was amazing also because it was like you had to put the things down so you could do what you needed to do and then have them come back.
It was a moment, baby. It was definitely a moment to carry on, and I felt that episode we really looked so nice. I loved our outfits. Shout out to Johnny and the whole team because they worked hours to like put those stones on them costumes. They did their thing.
Yeah. So can you talk to me a little bit about how you came to ballroom in general and the scene, and we'll go from there.
My first introduction to ballroom was when I was in high school. I was a freshman and I was on the dance team. And this boy that was on the dance team, he had later down the line became my gay father. His name is Ade Khan. I don't believe he's a Khan anymore, but his name was Ade Khan. And once he introduced me into voguing, I just like, I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. When I was younger, I've always been infatuated with like performing arts. That was just always my thing. So later down the line, I got into a performance art high school, Edward R. Murrow in Brooklyn, New York. And that's when I found voguing, and it was like I could do like this gymnastic type of acrobatic jump around. I can incorporate all these different dance styles and all this different artistry. So that really caught my eye.
It's interesting because like that is a part of your performance, right? Is that you do the stunt.
Daredevil shade.
Right. There's this clip of you like, I think it's from Brazil, of you like doing a cartwheel off the panel onto the floor. What am I saying? I was like, that's how I come in every conversation when people are arguing.
You just got to jump out the window on them.
Right. But like, so we obviously first connected because of your appearance on My House. And when I say appearance, I mean starred in My House. And you had a storyline there, like one of your first storylines on My House, obviously, was sort of about you leaving the house, Miyake-Mugler, and searching for your own house, well, another house. And then, you know, about a year after the show premiered, you debuted at Latex as Mugler again. And so I just wanted to hear a little bit about sort of leaving the house and why you came back and you know, sort of what you found in this family.
Leaving the house, I left the house because I just felt like at that point in time, we were just having like trials and tribulations. And I feel like at that time, it was my pride that I really let like overtake me. And I was just like, you know what? I'm through with this. And it was just like, I did feel a slight disrespect, but it was just one of those things where it was like, I always like to think of things like this. I always like to weigh my options. I always like to make sure, like if I'm going to do something, it has to make sense. It has to be logical. And I just felt like when I had all that time to like really like assess the situation, I was like, this is my family. It wasn't all negative. It was like the good outweighed the bad at the end of the day. So I feel like that's what led me back to my home. And I always say, even when people ask me to this day and they be like, but you left and you went back. I'm like, I was just one of those kids that wanted to go away to school. My parents, they wanted me to stay, go community college. I wanted to go abroad.
But also, like, I don't know if you were doing it before, but like, definitely after My House, you did, you know, go abroad. You really did travel, right? And like, I wanted to hear a little bit about like what that was like, you know, doing all those things and traveling and really like showing up as the princess of Vogue, you know, outside of New York, right?
Oh my God, it's such a thrilling experience. It's just like you wouldn't imagine how much people appreciate the culture and people appreciate you. They watch you. They have this slight infatuation with you, and it's so like, oh my God, it's so endearing, and it's like I would have never thought in a million years that people would perceive me like this. So anytime I go out the country, I always like to record. I always like to bring everybody into my world and just be able to experience it with me because I feel like there's a lot of like trans girls and my trans sisters who aren't able to like be here today. So I feel like I'm living for them through and they're living through me.
So now you've done the reality television situation, you've done competition television. Like, do you have a preference for either one, or do you love both, or?
I don't know. I think I'm kind of through with I think I'm kind of through with all of that stuff. I don't know. I think I want to challenge. I want to challenge myself in a different way. I just want to do everything that I can do before I leave this earth. I don't ever want to feel like I've lived and I regretted certain things that I feel like I should have done.
Yeah.
So I just always want to make sure I'm able to like say, okay, I did this. I tried this out. This worked for me. This didn't work for me. And you never know until you try.
So it's before Legendary, and like, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember seeing you a lot on the floor recently, not too long before the show, and I didn't know if you were sort of like taking time off intentionally, or like, can we expect to see you back on the floor soon?
Okay, so prior to Legendary, I have not. The last time I vogued was, I believe, the 2019 Latex Ball.
Right, when you came back out as Mugler.
After that, life had happened. I had my own situations going on. I had went through like a slight anxiety and depression state. That's what led to me gaining so much weight. Then the pandemic happened and I just gained more weight. Then I was about to go and go get some work done, have some cosmetic surgery. Then Legendary called. And now I had to choose between surgery, pose, and Legendary. And I was like, you know what? I've already been on pose. I'm just going to try to do another, take another alleyway. And it worked in our favor.
It's interesting. Do you I know a little bit about some of the conversations, but, particularly around depression, do you think that the community discusses sort of mental health enough around those sorts of things?
I just don't think people realize, like, everybody goes through these things.
Right,
It may
yeah.
be minimal, it may be huge, but everybody has a moment where your mental is just not stable sometimes. And it's like, you need to take that time to heal. You need to assess it. You need to, get back to you. And I think what really helped me is like my love for dance and my passion for performing arts. I feel like that's what helped pull me out of that state. Because prior to that, I think a big part of me even going through the anxiety and depression period was I wasn't able to be active. I wasn't active. And I'm the type of person where I'm a Sagittarius. I don't like to sit down. I'm adventurous. I'm spontaneous. Like, I'm always on the go. I always travel. I can't stay still. So the fact that that was one of the things that was happening and the pandemic came, it was just like, it was a lot. And I feel like it was a lot for everybody as a society. And I feel like everybody just probably took it, in their own way. But for me, it was like, it took a toll on me.
Yeah. So you come into Legendary, you see the other teams. Tell me where's your head at? You see, all the other teams, right? You see Balenciaga, you see who's on the roster. How are you feeling when you saw who was, first day?
First day, oh my God, we was trying to see people so bad. They was not letting us know. Oh my God, it was a key. But I felt like going into it because I haven't been active for like 2 years. I already had this thing in me that was just like, oh boy, I gotta whip it into shape. So that's why I was really impressed that I was able to even do half the shit that I did, because I'm like, I'm not used to all this body weight. I don't know how to maneuver this. But when we seen the girls, it was a key. Like, I think we had a meeting. We had a big meeting. That's when we finally seen everybody. And we was coming in the room and we were just like, wow. But once we seen everybody, I don't think we were really worried. I think we knew that we had some competition there, but I don't think we were really worried.
So first, not after the season passed, but like first impressions, if you can remember it, who was it that you were like, those are the girls we have to watch?
I think coming in, okay, so this is going to be so shady to say, but I thought the Prodigies was going to be like one of the heavy hitter girls
Right, that was going to carry.
That was going to carry, but it was like kind of crazy when they went home. We was like, what? No. We were gagging. But I think coming in, we already knew the TGs would be top contenders because majority of them were trained dancers.
Right.
We felt like the Arichis had a good chance at carrying in the shows too, because it was like Omari is one of them ones.
Right.
And he had a lot of good heavy hitters on his team as well.
Were you as surprised about Garçon as I was?
I think everybody was surprised that the runway girls was turning it out on that stage. They did what they did what needed to be done. They was representing. I was proud. We was proud of them. It's no shade. We was like, that's right.
Speaking of being proud of them, Stasha, we talked with her on one of the other episodes, and she was pointing out that the top 3 houses all came from Mugler. That like it was
the
Mugler,
bloodline, honey.
Right. Were you ever sort of like close with any of the other people in those other 2 houses?
I'm close with Honey because Honey is a juicy. That's my daughter. I know Khalid very well. I'm close with him as well. As far as the Garçons, I'm very cool with Milan. I know Egypt very well. That was my first time meeting Savion and Tonka. But me and Tonka, we got close on the show as well. And Stasha, too. I love Stasha. I love Stasha so much. She's so beautiful. I want to look like that when I get that age, honey. I need to make it that way.
One thing that I has talked to a few of the others about is it felt like the season of the Femme Queen. I just felt like there were so many more Femme Queens on this season.
It was a couple girls this season, right? You had Gia,
Right.
Simone, Shannon, Stasha, me.
I was wondering how you felt about that. And then I feel like the history of Mugler is a Butch Queen house.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it like being a Femme Queen in a house that's really known for having a bunch of Butch Queens?
I don't know. I think at the time that I came after, I feel like that was like a old school thing.
An old thing, yeah.
An old school Mugler, Flair, honey. But I think this season on Legendary, it was beautiful to see the girls out here and doing their thing and definitely representing for the community. And then showing everybody that we're more than, we can do everything. So I definitely want to give everybody they kudos because that experience was one of them ones.
Outside of the all-house performance category, was there a favorite category for you on the season?
The favorite category for me was the twerk. What was it? The twerk fest.
Right. So it's like the Sex Siren Part 2.
Yes.
You was out there.
Mm-hmm. I was out there. I was jumping around, throwing it back, doing what. The judges was gagging. Megan, it was gagging. I'm like, yeah, I got the hot girl knees too. Without.
Don't they do that category sometimes in Kiki scene? Like, I've never seen it at a ball, but I've heard of like some sort of twerking stuff at Kiki.
I think in the southern ballroom scene, they have those categories sometimes. Like the southern and the Midwest, they definitely have like twerk fest, twerk it out, shake that sexy. I think that's what they called it on the show, shake that sexy.
Right. So if you're thinking about, like, if you got the chance to cast an All-Stars, who do you think outside of Mugler, because you guys won so you can't be on it, who do you think should be on an All-Stars?
Ooh,
at least one house.
All-Stars, I would like to see the West, the Lavins, the Orichis, the Prodigies. I would like to see the TGs too come back. Who else? You could throw the Agas in there too. They could get a piece of that.
What performance, whether it's Mugler's or someone else's, would you want to do over again from this season?
I would say episode 6. The gender-bending, opulent queens, honey. And I would like to do that on a Broadway stage or something because it was just so that to me. It was like the drama, Oh my God, it was everything.
It was really, really, really solid. Well, thank you so, so much, Tati. I'm so happy to have you on the show, and I hope to see you again soon sometime. Or we'll be doing this again in a year.
Thank you for having me, Mikelle. Anytime.
Thank you so much to Tati. Next up, I sat down with Runas with a Twist legend Diego Miyake-Mugler to talk about how the house put on the best performance in show history, how exactly he learned to vogue like a femme queen, and what it was like being the season's undisputed thirst trap.
Hey, Diego, Lego my ego, giving me body.
Diego, I feel like you look fire in your costume. I just love to look at it, Diego.
Hey, Diego, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the Let Out. So I just wanted to start by saying congratulations for the win for House of Miyake-Mugler. And I just wanted to know, like, how does it feel to have been a part of winning the season?
Oh my God. It's been a journey. It was a journey. It was a long journey. But I wouldn't have traded in for anything. Before I came to the show, I lost my mom. So I was super determined to make sure I made her proud. And doing that was, one, being casted on the show, and then two, making sure that I won. So I didn't want it to go in vain. I missed her funeral. So I really needed to just make sure that I was just focused and there to win.
When you came in, obviously you had all that going on. You had seen season 1, and then you see the cast of season 2. Did you sort of come in knowing that you guys were going to be here where you are now, or were you just like, I'm going to make sure that happens, or how was that for you?
Oh no. In the beginning, it was like, okay, we're a performance house. People know who we are. This is going to be, not a piece of cake, but like, okay, we got this in the bag. This is what we do outside of, Legendary and outside of Ballroom. So when we got there, it was definitely not the case. Leading all the way up to, us winning, we really had to we worked our asses off consistently. We kept pushing the envelope. We were getting bad critiques. Like, it was like I felt like they were just like taking knives and like just digging it in us. And, it was all worth it. Like, we really, really worked hard. My team, my house, we worked extremely hard to just improve ourselves. I felt like, not tooting our own horn. I really, now looking back, like, I don't think we had a bad performance at all. It was amazing. So I'm super happy that we were the winners. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I completely agree. I think that, like, on one hand, you guys were absolutely, and I think I say this multiple times on the podcast, like the cleanest house every week. But, in terms of the judges, there was really kind of this turning point, right, where sort of mid-season, where it felt like Megan was giving this critique about how, you guys didn't feel particularly warm, and you guys felt cold, which, side note, I thought was kind of funny. Not funny because you guys are getting critiqued, but funny because you guys are the porcelain house of Miyake-Mugler. And I was like, well, porcelain is perfect and very cold. So here we are.
Honey, okay. It's definitely that. But that wasn't the case. I don't think that was the case. Unfortunately, it sucks that it came off that way. I do think because we are all, like, we've danced outside of Legendary and have done shows, we treated it like it was work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how it came off. Everyone knows, anybody in Ballroom, and some of the judges know us personally, they know, like, that we're not that way. We're definitely a family. And we all actually were dealing with personal things outside of Legendary. Me just every week making sure my head is in the game and, making my family proud. And not only my mom, who passed away, Malik had a death in the family. Prince had like a knee injury. Like, so we were going through our own like little things. And it just sucks that they didn't like understand that. And so it came off as we were being cold, but that is not what we are in Ballroom and outside of Ballroom.
I think that one of the things that I always thought about for the house is that any criticism that you got, you absolutely, the next week, it was evident that that criticism had been like taken, received, and then incorporated into the work. And so she gave that critique, and the next week it was better. You know, we felt that what she was saying that she felt was missing. And then, you know, after a week, it was a Superior House trophy every week. So
Yes, it was definitely Superior House trophy every week. It was what was episode? It was episode 6. I think it was Plastic Fantastic. You know, we wanted to have fun, and we were like, okay, we need to actually just really, really have fun. We're missing the fun aspect of this. And Arturo was actually able to see because during sometimes and backstage, we're not able to see other house performances. So we don't really get to see it till like the day when it airs.
Right.
So I think, you know, he started to see what other houses were doing. And I mean, Arturo is amazing. I mean, the way he's the engineer. So,
yeah,
you know, we actually were like, okay, we need to have fun. Like, let's have fun. And we came up with the formula. We literally came up with the formula, and there were these boxes. There were just like these things we always checked off, you know, making sure we told a story, making sure that our outfits were correct, making sure that we had great energy, our face expressions. There was this huge checklist, and you know, Tati actually came up with this checklist.
Oh, amazing.
And was like, we need to make sure these things are checked off before we hit the stage. That's how we became Superior House all the way to the you know, finale, which was incredible. And not to mention, not to toot our own horn, no other house has had Superior House the way we did. And we stormed. It was every ball we won.
Obviously, the judges were interested in you not only for the Vogue, but also for the body. And so how was that attention on the show?
That attention was, I gagged. You know, I really did gag. Megan is definitely my wife. She's definitely my wife. But no, it was great. You know, I work out 6 to 5 days a week. So I was extremely, extremely excited going on the show and actually showing my body to the world. I mean, I worked super hard for it. And, you know, also to my talent, voguing. I was really nervous of doing the show because I had took a break from ballroom and I started focusing on my personal life. I started doing my fitness stuff and getting back out there. A lot of people didn't know that I vogued. There was a lot of a whole new generation, and a lot of people didn't know that I vogued. A lot of people that I hung around too didn't even know that. I just like never really expressed it. So doing the show, I knew that I was going to put myself out there, and I struggled with the balance of like this masculinity part of me, which is like, it appears like, you know, you see this big old guy, but then it's just like, oh my God, he's so feminine, he's so cunt. And so I really found the balance with both doing the show, and I feel super comfortable, you know, now like not hiding that part of me because I did.
It's interesting because, like, I think that, like, if you don't know ballroom, you just see you on the show, you do immediately, you're like, oh, he must, like, walk sex hour and he must walk body. But, like, you're legendary for realness with a twist, right?
Yes.
So, you know, performance legend, like, it's what you do. So, but I was also interested because I've seen your performance off of the show. And I always wanted to know who you learned from. Could you vogue like an old school femme queen?
Yes.
And so I've always been just interested in like how you began voguing and sort of learned.
Wow. Listen, for people that don't know, you know, the history of voguing came from the femme queens. The ballroom was always about femme queens. We celebrated them. And Butch Queen Vogue Femme came from Butch Queen voguing like a femme queen. And when I joined the scene, luckily I had people that were, you know, in the scene longer than me who actually was like, no, this is who you need to study. These are the clips you need to watch. These are the DVDs you need to watch. And I fell in love with Deja. Rest in peace. She was my mom. And I just fell in love with like her performance. So I just always, like, she taught me how to like vogue. Like we would like get up sometimes and like vogue. She would come to my house. So yeah, that's who I actually imitated. But like the girls, I just loved femme queen performance. Like I loved the essence of it. It's a feeling. And that's how I learned how to vogue.
I didn't know that Deja was your mother. She's amazing. Rest
Oh my
in peace.
God.
She died earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Earlier this year.
And was amazing. But I actually want to ask, sort of back up a little bit and talk to you a little about how you came to the ballroom scene overall.
I joined the scene when I was 15 years old. My ex-boyfriend took me to my first ball in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? I was super athletic as a child. I'd never had any training in dancing, but I love dancing. I love how it made me feel. And when I got into the scene, I seen voguing and I was just like, oh my God, like these people, it's so gay, but it's like, it's everything. I was like, I want to learn how to do this. And again, coming from no training, no dance background or anything like that, I just really studied and just learned it. I'm a visual learner, so I can learn things very quickly. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to learn how to do this. And my first category that I walked was Schoolboy Realness. And I was in the House of Con. I probably walked Schoolboy like maybe for less than a year. And I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I'm ready to get on the floor and Vogue. And I had doubters. Like people didn't think that I would be able to Vogue. Like some of the people that were walking Realness with the Twist in my house was like, no, I don't think you're ready to do this. And I was like, no, I am. And I actually just like walked a ball, didn't tell my house father, and I walked Realness with the Twist at a ball and I actually won.
Amazing. But so you were a con. How long were you a con before you went to Miyake-Mugler, and what brought you to Mugler?
I was a con for, I think, about 5-6 years. And then I joined the House of Mugler when I moved to New York City. I moved to New York City, in 2008 or 9. So I was already like had a relationship with Arturo. Arturo had did my first $1,000 performance that I ever walked and actually won in Boston. And we just had a great connection. He came up with the concept. The music was amazing. And I was just like, oh my God, like he's super sweet. He's so nice. And for people that don't know, he did all our music for the show as well.
And I heard that Malik did all the vocals on the track.
Malik is all the vocals. But back to just me joining the House of Mugler, I always loved the house. It was just something about the house, even back in the day. They just exuded this poise. It was just something about them that I just really, really loved. And I was like, oh my God, I want to be a part of it. It was just so elite. Yeah, the rest was it. I left the House of Con, and I think like the following, like 2 weeks later, I was going to a house meeting.
So talk to me a little about, you were talking about your relationship with Arturo. It started at that sort of him helping do your production for that, but I would assume you guys have maintained a relationship since then.
Yeah, we've had a relationship prior, even before me joining the house. Arturo, for people that listen, like Arturo is, amazing. He has helped so many people in the ballroom scene when it came down to performance. And the good thing about Arturo is like he teaches you Vogue, but he teaches you the elements, and he teaches you in a way where it works for you and not training you to Vogue like him. That's his motto, and I love it because, sometimes when you teach people, it's like, okay, cool, the people learn it and it's like they imitate, but Arturo will, teach you how to catwalk or just different techniques that will work for you in your body, for your catwalk or duck walk or wherever it is, or, if you're making a combo up. So Arturo's such a great teacher, and I was so blessed and so happy to be a part of the team on Legendary, because when we found out that we were all together, I was like, I had already spoke that in existence. Like this would have been the team, because we're all so versatile when it came down to individual categories. And not only, people focus on, okay, cool, we have to have this whole house production, but when those challenges come around, that's how you get out of the bottom. You get those extra 10 points to become superior house. Those challenges really, really do count. So, being able to stand as a unit, but also to solo is great. Being versatile in, all categories. And I think we were this season.
You talked about Deja, but on the show you also talked about, obviously, your relationship with Shannon. And so I just wanted to hear a little bit about that. And even in I think in the finale, there's this like scene of her even helping you get ready for what I think was the body category. So yeah, can you talk to me a little about sort of your relationship with Shannon?
Shannon, mommy. She's, been a part of my life since I was, probably in the 9th, 10th grade. I met her when I was in the House of Con, And she's been a huge role model in my life and has helped me out in so many different ways in my life. Our bond is inseparable. When I left home, she was the person that I went to live with. My mom was, totally fine with that after she met her. And, now that my mom's gone, like, she has a responsibility, and she's my mom. She's really, really big. She's not my ballroom mother. She is my mother. And I always try to make that very clear when I speak of her, because our relationship is so beyond ballroom.
So I want to ask about your favorite performance on the show, but actually before that, I would love to hear about your favorite battle in the scene before coming on Legendary that you've been in.
My favorite battle, you know what? It's actually on a DVD. And it was, oh, wow. I actually have two favorite battles. My first one was a Rumble Ball. And it was the first time I've actually vogued in front of Alyssa La Perla.
Mm-hmm.
I had a blue wig on. It was asking for like a touch of blue, yellow and blue. I had a blue wig on and like a whole yellow outfit. And I was battling Juan Sinclair at the time. And he's a legendary for Realness with the Twist. And so that was actually our first time actually being on the floor and battling. So I was super honored. And like, I was a baby back then. I was a little kitten. So I was like so hyped to be battling him. And we were sitting on the side and he kept telling me, I had battled a few people before and he did. And we knew we were next. And he told me, he said, take that wig off, girl. And I was like, I said, girl, it's glued. It's not coming off. And anybody that knows me knows when I put a wig on, it's a fucking wrap. It's the essence, it's femme queen, it's hair, it's cunt, it's sex, it's everything. And then Alyssa was on the panel, so I was like, oh, I'm going to Vogue down.
Right.
So he told me to take the wig off, and I was like, I can't. And then I get on the floor, and like I'm about to start duck walking, and the beat starts, and I'm duck walking, and he walks up to me and grabs the wig. And he tries to pull it off, but the wig
You're
would not.
lying.
It would not. No, I'm not lying. And the wig would not go anywhere. So then the cons like ran on the stage.
Right.
It was about to be a whole like little shing ding. Jack broke it all up, and then they were going to have somebody else battle him. I sat on the side. I was trying to calm the house down, and then the beat started. So he started voguing against the other person. So I was like, I walked back out there politely, and I was like, no. I scooted the boy over, and then I went into a dip, and we started battling. And it just sent me. I won, and that was it. And the second one was Little James, when I battled Little James at the New York Awards Ball, which is a redemption battle for me because I left the house and we battled, I think, at the Icon Ball, and he set me. I was drunk. I shouldn't have walked. Actually, Arturo told me not to walk, and I walked anyway. And and I lost. And he snapped in my face, did the whole thing. James, the overall father of the House of Con at the time, well, founding grandfather of the house.
Right. Big James.
It's just like, yeah, Big James. It's like, that's what you get for leaving the house. And I told you, and I was like, all right. Months passed. I went to New York Awards Ball, and it was our house versus their house. It was a tag team thing. And it's funny because I don't think that bitch had the number. They called number 3 or like number 4. And I don't think she had the number.
Out, right.
I came out first, and I think she just came out because she wanted a piece. But I definitely gave her ass a piece. That's my sister, though. But
and also for viewers on Legendary, we call Lil James. That's his old name. We call him King James now from the House of West from season 1. And actually, that brings up something else that I want to ask you about. I was wondering if you had done drag before, but clearly so.
Oh my God. So I have never ever. I've done drag one time with my ex-boyfriend. We did it for Halloween.
Okay.
And it was very funny. And then, on the show, episode 7, we had to, it was the opulence ball, and we had to do gender blending.
Yeah.
And I was totally fine with like cutting off my beard. I don't have much facial hair, as you guys see. And, others had issues with, them doing it. But we were like, if we're going to like do this, we have to do it. We cannot put makeup on the beards. Like, we need to go all the way. And it's so funny because like now looking back, watching the episode, it's like, shit, and getting the critiques we got, we really took it there. We really, really took it there with the makeup and, the wardrobing. Like, So it was definitely worth it. And I don't think it would have been the same if we had the beards. So, I was happy that Arturo shaved his beard. He didn't shave his beard for like 10 years and Malik never shaved. Like, it was a big thing. So we all cut our beards and stuff off and got in drags, honey.
It is my favorite performance, I think, of the show. It was you guys' first, I think, Superior House Trophy win, right?
That performance was and is my favorite performance by far.
Yeah.
It's crazy because when we found out the challenge, they was like, okay, each house has to represent an element. And we were like, we have to get hands. We have to get hands. And, I don't know if Gia, I don't know. I mean, she threw us a ranch the last time when she gave us the damn sloth. Right. And this time I was like, clearly she didn't know her history, because if anybody that knows Arturo knows that the hands is one thing you do not fuck around with. And she gave us hands. And I was like, and it's so funny. I remember Tora walking back and was like, bitch, we got hands. Thank God. He says, so y'all better get to work. Y'all better get ready. Cause and it was crazy because like the next day, that breakdown that we did, like he came up with that on the spot. Heard the beat. He was like, this is the beat that we're using. And I was like, what are we gonna use? And he was like, don't worry. And like it was crazy. So that's like my favorite performance by us. So shout out to Gia and the Tishis for giving us hands, honey. Should have gave us another should have gave us another fucking element.
Well, thank you so much, Diego. I do hope to see you at the West Ball. I will absolutely be in the building.
It's giving you body, yaddy, 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 yaddy.
Thanks so much for coming on The Let Out.
Thank you so much for having me.
So nice to finally be able to speak to the man we have all had a crush on, Diego Mugler. For our final conversation, I spoke with the icons, Leiomy Maldonado and Arturo Miyake-Mugler. Here, we discussed why Mugler was the perfect house to win, how Leiomy actually used to look up to Arturo, and advice for any houses hoping to be on Legendary in the future.
Shout outs to the father, because you carried for me.
I'm Arturo, Father Miyake-Mugler.
Baby, I'm going to say that this is what I've been waiting for. Miyake-Mugler, thank you so much for gracing us with such an amazing performance.
Miyake-Mugler is what all houses should achieve to be, but talented, professional, and humble.
You are here, and why the $100,000 may just belong to you guys.
Okay.
Hey, Leiomy, how are you?
What's skinny, Mikelle? I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. What's up, Arturo? How are you today?
I'm good. I'm here chilling like a villain.
Good. Welcome to The Let Out, you guys. I wanted to start by saying congratulations to Arturo and obviously the whole house of Miyake-Mugler for winning this season. How does it feel to have won?
Thank you. It feels fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I know that's right.
Leiomy, does it mean anything to you to have, like, specifically this house and the performers who were on Mugler for the season win? Does that mean anything for you and the scene in general?
For me, honestly, it means so much because the show is to showcase the best of the best, honestly. And season one, we had a great start to season one. It was a great way to introduce ballroom to, the masses and to get the people involved. But I feel like season two, it came with so much competition. I feel like everyone, like, they really, really brought their passion onto those stages and then brought their artistry to get those categories out there and to make sure that the challenges were met. And, it was a tough competition, honestly. And the Muglers winning, they deserved it. They deserved it. And as you guys saw, it was an amazing season overall. And yes, I'm proud. I'm proud of actually all the houses overall. So no matter who have won, I would have been proud regardless. But the Muglers, they stand for something and they showed the world what they stand for on this season.
And what about you, Arturo? You came into the season, you saw the first season, obviously, and you saw the lineup for the second season. How are you feeling? Did you always see that you guys were going to be here, or how was it in the beginning when you guys got started?
When we first got there, we were like, bitch, we're going to make it to the end. when we came into the season, we got to that first big meeting. We got to see who was there. I was like, okay, bitch, we about to eat this. and and then we seen like the other houses, like Prodigies. We thought we were gonna be at the end with the Prodigies because they have so many legends and individually they represent their categories really well. So we thought it would be us and them.
Oh, how the tables turned. That was not how it was for the first half of the season.
Completely. It was real shifty.
So can you talk to me a little bit about how you came to ballroom and voguing? I know that you've had quite a career. I used to watch your clips a lot. I still watch your clips. So I'd love to hear about how you got started in the scene.
I started in the scene through my dance team. And little gay boy, come learn this Vogue part. I need you to do a dip here. They taught me how to do this dip. And after that, later on, they took all the girls, well, meaning us, they took us to the to the clubhouse. And that was where they had local mini balls every Wednesday or Thursday of the week. And I got to experience my first ball. Fast forward later to that, Mika took me to the House of Infinity, and from there, I started training more, and then everything else is now.
So Clubhouse, Leiomy, I know you used to go to Clubhouse as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Very true.
Do you remember when you guys first became aware of each other or met each other?
Well, when I met Arturo, I already knew of Arturo because of like the ball tapes and me being exposed to like ballroom VHS tapes. And the crazy thing is that the house that Arturo was in when I first came into the scene was Blahnik. And that was like my dream house at the time because they were known for performance. And I'm like, I know I'm going to be a performance goddess, honey, and I need to be in this house. But by the time I went to Blahnik, I believe Arturo was already like legendary. He was already out there. So like the times that I did have rehearsals, I never got to meet Arturo actually. So that was something that for me, I'm like, damn, I never got to meet the actual like fab girls in the House of Blahnik.
Do you remember when the time was that you guys actually were able to connect other than just sort of seeing him around?
Oh, I would have to say when Arturo asked me to be a part of his project. He had a project right before, it was a performance, right, Arturo?
Yeah, I still have the video. I have the video.
You need to send me that. Because I need to post it.
It's not really a good angle, but I have. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Wait, so y'all have to tell me, what was this moment?
Arturo basically reached out to me and he was having a performance and he wanted me to basically just come out and like do a cute piece and be a part of it. And for me, it meant so much because coming from the ballroom scene, like I wasn't accepted as much as everybody else. And it was a little harder for me to like get respected in that way. So because for Arturo to ask me to be a part of the performance, for me, it meant so much. I'm like, oh, wow, like he sees me outside of just like the ballroom situation. Like he wants to, have me a part of his performance. And it was in a setting where it was non-ballroom. It was like, like that one day I met so many different dancers that I probably never even heard about and that I have heard about. And it was something that for me was like a connection between like the dance world and ballroom.
And Arturo, you've been on that, I guess I didn't know that you came to ballroom through a dance group, but I know that you've been doing that really your entire career, right? That like you straddle the line between the dance world and ballroom. I just went to that showcase that you did, Vogue for Your Life.
Oh, you was there?
Which was an amazing, absolutely.
That's right.
Which was an amazing showcase and I walked away from it knowing that I was like, these are the ways in which ballroom and voguing specifically is going to be accepted as a dance form because people are putting them in a context that is palatable to this industry. Can you talk to me a little bit about sort of straddling the line between ballroom and the dance world in general? And is that something that is like really important to you and why?
I never really thought about it. It's because I've always done dance and I've always done ballroom, so I would always do them at the same time. So it felt naturally, it felt natural to combine the two. A lot of people just do certain things with Vogue, and they want to stay true to their art of, feeling the cunt and the femininity, and it's all good, and it's true, you should. But if it's a performance, which I got from my dance background, you want to put on a show.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is not going to be the technical format of what voguing should look like or should be. I blended the two together because those are my two backgrounds.
You both teach internationally and have taught for some time. Can you talk to me a little bit about sort of what it's like to be teaching and teaching all these classes, and then to also see the scene go in and out of the mainstream, right, over the past, I guess, 15 years? Obviously, Leiomy, you have been a major part of that in the mainstream many of those times. But sort of what does that end up, does that turn into something for you as a choreographer? Are there more opportunities? Are there just more people in class? What is that like for you guys?
For me, I felt like if I didn't travel and I didn't take my talents elsewhere, I wouldn't feel as appreciated as I did as an artist, especially coming to the ballroom scene and being, I changed performance. I made it so different, and it took a while for ballroom to accept that. I feel like a lot of these shows and being a part of a lot of these gigs, and as well as social media, has helped a lot. It has not only, because I can even say something like Nike. When I did the campaign for Nike, that alone, it put me on a map where like my classes started becoming workouts for certain people, where before that, people would come there just to either solely learn how to vogue, or they just want to be more feminine with their fluidity, or they just want to build confidence. Where now it's like, okay, through Nike, now people see that voguing is an athletic style of dance, and hey, you can skip the gym and go to a vogue class, and it's kind of like the same workout. It's actually more of a workout, but
It is.
like me personally, I would have never thought that I would be doing something for Nike, although I know that it's something that I always wanted to do. But to be acknowledged through Nike and just through dance alone, that's like major. And for it to be because of voguing, that's even more major. And it does, it opens doors. And like overseas is where you're really gonna feel like you're more appreciated in your artistry and what you're doing as a teacher and as a leader. It's going to be appreciated more because the people overseas, they really want to know the knowledge, and they want to live the experience, and they want to really really live through even your own journey. You sharing what you go through and just being visible for them means so much more than people here where they take advantage of certain things.
So I want to focus a little bit on your guys' trajectory on the show and back up to the beginning, which I still, contend that the Mugler Grand March was one of the best, but whatever. And so I would love to hear a little bit, Arturo, from you. You guys started really high, the bar was set high. But for the first 4 episodes, you guys were in this sort of like middle of the pack in terms of scoring. And I'm wondering what that felt like. Is that what you expected? Did that make you completely rethink things? Like how was that experience?
Oh my God. So those couple of weeks were weird. Not because we thought we were doing amazing. It was weird because of the feedback we were getting. And it put me in a place where it made me feel like I'm letting my house down and I'm not doing a good job. And once we got that critique from Megan about being cold, it made us sit back and think about how people see us. And I just had this at my house meeting with them. People tend to think we're one way because we're inclusive. And we stick to ourselves. And we have a good time, and we have fun with each other, and we're loving. But they don't get that from us because we're not letting them in. And I'm from New York, so it don't give that all the time. I'm stern. My face is stern. It's giving, okay, bitch, we here to work. What's up? What's the next challenge? I already got my choreography. Let me get this music. Let me bust this out. I have no time to be keying with y'all. So it came off to them as being cold and stoic, and we were these people.
Leiomy, this is something I've actually wanted to ask all the judges. When houses come in at such a high level, do you think that there is a difference in judging that, you knew Mugler, you knew the level of performance, and so you expect more from a house like that as opposed to another house, and thus the scores are commiserate with that expectation?
Well, as far as for me, I can only speak for myself. When I'm judging,
Right.
I am solely judging on the performance itself. I don't compare. I feel like that's something that it takes away and it's unfair to the person that you're actually judging in front of you if you're comparing to the person who came before them and all that. As far as the Muglers, I know how amazing they are. And for me, it was just about pointing out the little things like, hey, you could fix this a little bit better and fix that a little bit better. I feel like some of the other judges were a little bit more critical about certain stuff, and it kind of like was a gagger in certain parts because I'm like, well, damn, girl, what are you seeing? You know, and it's like you have to respect their opinion because they're there to, you know, to give their opinion. So if they feel that way, you have to like literally like, okay, girl. But you know, it's times where sometimes I want to be like tap the girl on the shoulder, like, girl, what were you seeing, girl? But it's like, you know,
I mean,
they're there for a reason.
I absolutely felt that a little bit during Arturo's hand performance stuff because you're just known for
And
hands.
that gagged me itself. I'm like, when they chopped up their hands, I kind of looked over like, bitch, ho. And then sometimes, you know, judging, you don't want to like literally chop every single person. And then it's like, okay, we don't have a battle. We don't have a show. That kind of takes away from, you know, the competition and the experience.
Arturo, did you have a favorite Mugler performance of the season?
Opulence was my favorite.
That's right.
Okay, that's everybody's favorite, period, because it was so good. It
just felt, when it ended, it felt good.
Leiomy, do you either Mugler or, you know, another house, but, you know, Arturo's here. So do you have a favorite performance of the season?
My favorite performance overall of the season, I would have to name two because it's more than one. But I would say the House of Tishi when they did the Pop-Tart, when they did their As a House, and the Muglers when they did Opulence. Like, top.
The Warhol pop art performance was my second favorite for sure. It was so good. And it was interesting to see both those performances were just not only extremely clean, because that's the thing about Mugler, I think, is that you guys were clean the entire season.
Yes.
But like they were clean, plus they had the storyline, they were fun, they had all these different levels, which honestly isn't something that you always see, particularly at a ball, right? Like we don't see productions to this level.
No.
No, but like even with Tishi's, like I didn't see any of the Tishi's performances until the Classic Fantastic.
The Toy Soldier.
Yeah, I didn't see anything they were doing the whole entire season. So once I seen them perform, the following week would be Opulence. Once I seen them perform, it gave, okay, bitch, they living for this. Now I know what to do.
That's the thing is you knew the rubric at that point, right? You knew what the judges were looking for from seeing that other performance. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. I mean, it's, you know, it is the game, honestly. Is there a house that each of you thinks went home too early?
From this season?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember even the way that they went home. But go ahead, Arturo. You answer first.
I definitely think Tishi went home too early.
Yes, I was going to say that. But, you know, it came down to that. And see, I have to talk about this because I don't get to talk about this, you know? But it comes down to that battle, you know?
Yeah.
It comes down to that battle. And that's something that, okay, the viewers, they don't understand. They're like, okay, so if such and such house got all these high scores as a house, and then when it came down to the battle, how come one house gets to win one category and then end up being superior? What they're not understanding is they're getting an automatic 10 once you win a singular category. So that throws the whole game off.
You had to win those challenges. You were gagged.
You know, it's hard for the viewers to understand that, okay, so the singular categories, they're each 10 points. So if somebody did really bad in the house productions and then they win one of the singular categories, that'll take them up further than, you know, being in the bottom two if you would have thought just based on the house productions. And that's something that with the Tishis, I was so over it because I wanted to see Tishis, Agas, and Mugler top three, darling. Like, honestly, I think it would have came down to Mugler and Tishi top two. That would have been a definite stern competition tea. But, you know,
that 5-way final redemption between Tishi and Mugler I would have paid to see that, absolutely. Absolutely. If there's a season 3, what is your message to the houses that apply?
My message to the houses that apply is, one, to be ready to work, because that's something that people don't understand.
Bitch.
Yeah, right? That's something that people don't understand. They think that they're gonna be a part of this and it's gonna be easy. No, you're gonna be having hours of rehearsal that you're not used to. You're gonna have to be disciplined and be ready to just be making sure that you're focused on this competition, because this
No
is what it's going to
sleep.
be all about. No sleep, baby. You got to make sure you on, and anything else, like all your issues, all your problems, leave those at the door. Like, if you're going to come here for this competition, make sure that, one, you're going to stay true to yourself, stay true to your house, and to make sure that you remember that although that this is a competition and yes, it's $100,000, you're there and you're showcasing ballroom. So don't forget that. Don't forget that people are watching you because they're seeing you and they're seeing a community that comes behind you. Don't forget that. Bring your up game and just be ready to play. And don't play. Be ready to play, but don't come on there
But don't
playing.
play.
Yeah.
Y'all have to plan ahead of time.
Mhm.
If you know you want to be on season 3, start planning for it now.
And also, play around with the members that you choose for the house. Like, a lot of
Look at-
times, these people, they be like, okay, I'm going to send my best face girl and all this other. And if your face girl can't pick up a 1 and 2 Miss Thing, that's not going to be cute. Like, you got to strategize.
Or if your face girl can't do Oway,
No.
she gonna gag.
She gonna gag. You got to make sure you get people that are very versatile in categories. And that's something that with the Muglers, like, you gag, because honestly, a lot of those people are known for like 1 category, maybe 2 because of the Kiki scene mix. But they gag, they serve, they let the people have it.
Actually, now that you bring that up, I don't understand why people are not going up for the Tinseltown Mugler performance. To me, that performance was
It was
so
nasty.
good.
It was fucking nasty.
And I think what was so good about it was not only the choreography and everything was so sharp, but that it was the embodiment of how the category was written, right? Like, you could tell through the story of the choreography that it was both best dressed, the pieces came off, and also face. Tati sold fucking face like no other. And I'm just like, I don't understand why the girls aren't going up for this. It was absolutely one of my favorites.
I do agree with Leiomy had told Tati. She had just had to slow down on the face parts. She was so excited.
Yeah, you can tell
to be
she
out
was.
there. Yeah, she was so excited. She was trying to move fast to the beat. I said, we was like, bitch, slow down. When we got out there, she said, bitch, I'm feeling it.
Well, it's also interesting because I love Prince. I am partial to Salt and Cum performance, so I have loved Prince for years. And it was really interesting to see him come on and be a competitor on a show that, like, his previous teammates are now judge and host, right? Like, he was on America's Best Dance Crew with you guys. So that was really interesting to see him have that sort of moment as well.
Yeah, and I was so proud. I'm so proud of Prince, especially because it kind of puts everything in a circle. Like, you just never know what your life and what your journey is going to put you through. And, I know Prince personally, and I know he struggled for a long time with, just being a dancer. Like, that alone, being a dancer and surviving in this world alone, it's hard. So for me to see him on that stage and to know that he didn't give up and that, like, bitch, you won, bitch. Like, look at that. And you deserved it. Like, and you had moments. Like, when I hugged him after they won and I got on the stage and I hugged him, I told him, I'm like, I'm so proud of you, bitch. And I better make sure to see your ass out there getting shit and getting these gigs and filling that bag, honey, because you deserve it.
Okay.
And he does.
Right. Speaking of the bag, what are y'all doing with this $100,000, Arturo? Are we getting another, ball, or what's happening?
Right. What's going on?
Nowadays.
Because I need another 10K. I need y'all to do what y'all did a few years ago.
Well, we got to talk to Rihanna about that.
Okay.
I don't know about that. But I'm just going to invest in me, move. I'm definitely getting my teeth done because they need a little upgrade.
That's right.
No shit. I am investing back into my business. I might throw a ball, flip the money, and make more.
That's right.
So yeah, it's about investing and making more money with the money you have.
Yeah.
We love a businessman. Well, Thank you so much for all of your time, both of you. I will hope to see you guys soon. I'm not going to lie and say I'm coming to a class because it's not going to happen. But
Hey, well, if you don't come to classes, send your girlfriends.
Okay.
I absolutely will do that. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me. I have looked up to both of you for so long, and it's always great to chat.
Thank you, Mikelle.
Thank y'all.
Thank you so much to the icon Leiomy Maldonado and New York house father Arturo Miyake-Mugler for breaking it all down for us today. And congratulations to the House of Miyake-Mugler for some absolutely sensational performances this season. Before we go, I just want to give a shout out to all the houses that competed this season on Legendary, no matter how long they stayed in the competition. From the clapbacks,
I just feel like your 9 was like a GoFundMe.
Damn, bitch.
to the sublime looks,
We really do look lovely today.
We do.
We are the blueprint of ballroom, the gold standard.
to the delightful mess,
So when it looked like you won $100,000, bitch, I'ma give you the vote for the $100,000.
and even the vulnerability you showed on screen.
My mom was just like a big light in my life. Today, I know she's smiling down on me, and she's definitely like watching over my house.
You really gave us all something to look forward to each week. Here's to a great season of Legendary, and thank you for listening to this season of The Let Out.
For now, the shade stops here. But remember, win, lose, or chop, there's always another ball. See you next time. Peace out.
The Let Out is produced by HBO Max in partnership with Spoke Media. Make sure to stream episodes of Legendary and The Let Out on HBO Max. Tell us about your favorite Miyake-Mugler moments from the season, of which there are far too many, over at Legendary Max on Instagram. I'm your host, Mikelle Street. You can find me at Mikelle Street on Instagram. For Spoke Media, our producer is Kelly Koff, with help from Hebron Mendez, Alicia Force, Brigham Mosley, Janielle Kastner, and myself. Original music and sound design by Evan Arnett. Special thanks to Clay Kim and Ariel Mejia. Our executive producers are Aaliyah Tavakolian and Keith Reynolds. Thank you so much for listening.